welcome to another episode of Sons of Thunder. And got a couple announcements before we start this show. First of all, we want to apologize about our background and everything like that. We're moving to a new studio, so please forgive us for our lack of style and flair for the next couple episodes, right?
Yeah, it's a newer, improved studio.
Yeah, new and improved. It's going to be good.
Yeah.
You'll like it whenever you see it. Second thing is if you go back and search Sons of Thunder podcast on the internet or wherever you guys search for us, you should go back to our New Year's Eve episode where I predicted the Super Bowl, right? And this man right here predicted our next topic, the assassination attempt of Donald Trump. You did it, bro. You finally did it. I didn't think anything you said in that episode was actually going to come true.
I said that there was no way either Biden or Trump were going to be president. I said that Biden was going to get knocked out.
One of them will be. I believe that. But.
Maybe the case, but I'd say that Trump probably wasn't going to make it to the election in November.
Yeah, but you said there'd be assassination attempts. So.
Yeah, they said they're going to have to get rid of him either through law or assassination, something like that.
Yeah, so let's dive into this assassination attempt. Can you roll that first clip, though? This is really cool.
So Trump got shot at, and he's a convicted felon. He might as well go ahead and release a mixtape. Go ahead. You a rapper now. You a certified thug. You done got shot at, and you a convicted felon? His mixtape gonna be called Get Elected or Die Trying. Listen to my tape, man. Listen.
Get elected or die trying. Man behind the curtain, can you put up this picture next? So this was 50 Cent's first album, Get Rich or Die Trying. And then this week, 50 Cent put this made up one of his album at his concert of Trump on top of his album. That is, people, this thing is so big that even people who may be on the fence or who are against Trump, they're rooting for him. They're rooting for him.
Yeah, well, all the polls seem to indicate that Trump's capturing a lot of black voters, especially black men voters, way more than the GOP has ever caught in the past. So, I mean, it's swinging in his favor in that regard.
I mean, if you get people on the fence, then you're already kind of winning the battle, right?
Yeah.
And I think this assassination attempt kind of made it so that anybody who's on the fence is now going to be on his side.
Yeah. I think it certainly has helped him to a degree anyway. But he has a lot of hatred out there. And let's take a look at some examples of that hatred. If you could roll the next clip there, Skeeter.
Now it is time for lefties losing it. It's been a big day for the demented, deranged and deluded. Triple D, triple threat, triple the unhinged. I mean, truly, the left have come out of the woodwork because of the failed assassination attempt on Donald Trump. So I'm just warning you now of the Trump derangement syndrome ahead. Let's start with this guy who looks as though he doesn't know if he wants to be part of a boy band or is transitioning perhaps to emo.
How do you miss that? We don't miss those! Come on, man! We don't miss those! One shot at greatness to be mentioned in the history books! And you miss the shot?!
Could you just shout a bit louder there into your microphone if you don't mind your voice? It's not quite distorting enough. Got to say, though, it was very dramatic, very cute little touch there, turning, crying into the wall. And the tears just keep flowing.
To the person who took at Trump today, why did you miss? Come on, now you gave him what he wanted more than anything in the world, attention. We're losing this election,
Are you already losing this election, sweetie? Now, here is a TikToker who should actually be the poster girl for the Democrats.
I just found out about this. It just happened. I haven't even had a second to process. You're telling me somebody finally had the balls to bring a pew-pew And he missed! We were a second away! We were a centimeter away from half of the problem being gone, and you missed! There was a white man attached to that trigger. I know it! We were a centimeter away! Ah!
Has anyone checked up on her? Secret Service, hello, feds, somebody, anybody. She needs some help. All is normal. Just as normal as this philosophical assessment.
I just really hope that the shooter is white. Like, I hope that the shooter is white. Because even if the shooter is white and some hyper leftist with manifestos and all kinds of stuff, at least they're white.
Ah, yes, the left have really been trained to prioritise identity, haven't they? Because skin colour is so important when it comes to trying to kill a former president. And here is the lefty, diverse and inclusive brigade showing their true colours.
John Wilkes Booth, if you can hear us, if you are with us, please, please, John Wilkes Booth, if you're listening, please.
Let me get this straight. Dumbass! You have a fully reloaded shotgun, but you chose to use a one bullet.
We're not even sending our best to f***ing assassinate. Cause what the hell was that? Lee Harvey Oswald would never, bitch. John Wilkes Booth would never.
Today was like this close to being the best day ever.
Also, the person that at Trump at his rally was exercising that right that all of those Republicans were fighting for. So, can you really blame him?
Wow. I'm lost for words in how much people hate not just him, but just like want death.
Do you see how unhinged those? Almost all of them are young people on
that
mostly TikTok, I think. And I mean, where does this come from?
Hate,
yeah.
Right? They hate normality, and Trump isn't normal, but he's wanting to get back to a somewhat normality, right?
Yeah, I would say that he is. He wants everything to be on an even keel. He doesn't want us to be at wars, and he wants the economy to be good and America to be strong and all that. I don't know if that's normal, but it's good.
It's back from what we are now, because we are definitely not normal or good right now.
Yeah, but I mean, you have to figure out, where does this come from? Where do these people get the idea that it's not only acceptable but good and righteous to just be out for the death of the president of the United States and to announce it to all the world in a recording that never goes away, and to publish it basically internationally? Yeah,
what I've seen a lot in this week is that people are saying former president as if it didn't matter, or they're just saying Donald Trump. I mean, if you might not like the president that is elected at any point in time, but to think that it's better that he's dead, that's kind of going a little too far. And not only that, to kind of demoralize him by saying you were never the president in the first place, you just need to die. That's even worse. It's like, can we have some sense of decency here? Or are we living in a world where if you disagree with me and I do things that you don't like, then you need to literally die and be shot in the head?
Yeah, that seems to be the part of what political discourse has come to at this point. I mean, I'm old enough to remember. I'm a bit older than you.
Really?
Yeah. Say back in the 80s. You had these liberals, you have liberals and conservatives, just like you do now. Those people would argue with each other, okay? But they wouldn't necessarily hate each other. And on top of that, they would use their best arguments against each other. Now
it's screaming into a microphone in your bedroom.
Right. And I'm not saying that on the right there is none of that. But generally speaking, if you're on the right, when you criticize the left, you say those people are silly. They're into communism and socialism, which are disproven forms of government and economics and all that sort of stuff. Basically, we're just saying they're wrong. Maybe even, maybe they're just silly or archaic or whatever. or they're trying to do systems that have never worked. But the left, when they criticize us, they don't just say you're wrong. Well, sometimes they'll say you're wrong, but usually it's
die.
You're evil.
Yeah, you're evil.
It's not that you're wrong. It's that you're a bad person.
Well, that takes us into something else we're going to, where it's like he's been called Hitler, right?
Yeah. This is here's an example of it. And by the way, this is where the kids get it, because these examples that I'm going to be showing you are they're of people that are respected journalists. They are members of Congress.
Yeah. So they have that clout, that respect already. And then when you say something, it's like, well, that means it's law.
Absolutely. So if you could roll that next one, please, Skeeter.
I just don't even know why there aren't uprisings all over the country, and maybe there will be.
People need to start taking to the streets. This is a dictator.
You know, there needs to be unrest in the streets for as long as there's unrest in our lives.
Enemies of the state.
Show me where it says that protests are supposed to be polite and peaceful.
Do something about your dad's immigration practices, you feckless.
When they go low, we kick them.
How do you resist the temptation to run up and wring her neck?
The biggest terror threat in this country is white men, most of them radicalized right up to the right.
I thought he should have punched him in the face. I said, even if you lost, he insulted your wife.
Yes.
He came down the escalator and called Mexicans. He said, well, what do you think I should have done? I said, I think you should have punched him in the face and then gotten out of the race. You would have been a hero.
I'd like to punch him in the face. I said if we were in high school, I'd take him behind the gym and beat the hell out of him.
Punch some people in the face!
When was the last time an actor assassinated a president?
Wow, yeah. So it's nothing but hate and physical harm to somebody that I just plain disagree with.
Yeah, they're just saying that you have a right to, and not only just a right to, but almost a duty to act in violent ways towards those who you disagree with.
Yeah, but see, if we disagree with them, it's not right for us to go up to them and punch them in the face, because they would send the cops on us and say, "How dare you?"
Yeah.
Right. Well, it's my right and my duty, right? I feel like you're being evil, and it's not okay for me to hit you. But whenever you think I'm evil, it's okay to try to assassinate me.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like this. The double standard is sickening.
They generally don't do it anyway, though. These guys are a bunch of soy boys. What are they going to hit me and then break their fist or something like that? You know, they're not like the toughest guys in the world, I don't think.
I think if Biden tried to actually hit somebody, he'd one, forget why he's doing it, and two, probably break his hand.
He'd fall over and break his head, is what would happen. But, it gets even worse than that. The rhetoric gets far, far worse. If you can play the next one there.
Of course, it's Trump is a Nazi time again.
Let's deal with Hitler, okay?
I don't think it's hyperbolic to say that. I mean, that is Mussolini, Hitler-like language.
Trump's affinity for Hitler was always covered under an umbrella of his stupidity.
Echoing Hitler's words.
Listen to this. Well, Hitler was duly elected.
That's right. Echoing the hateful rhetoric of Adolf Hitler.
It echoes Hitler.
That's the kind of language Hitler used in Mein Kampf.
About vermin and Hitler and Mussolini.
That's a horrifying clip. That's a fascist clip.
Just going full on Hitler.
From Hitler's Germany.
We just need to say, for the record, that the term vermin was really effectively used by Adolf Hitler.
Echo dictators like Hitler.
With language evoking authoritarian figures like Adolf Hitler and
Donald Trump parroted the autocratic language of Adolf Hitler.
Talk about the brilliance of Hitler's generals.
Correct.
General Kelly, yeah.
Yeah, so he's the modern day red-headed Hitler. We got it.
Yeah, and so if you're thinking about what could possibly be the reason behind the assassination attempt, the justification used. Look, I don't know what this guy's ultimately his reasons are.
Well, they haven't found that out yet?
No, they haven't found it yet. I heard on the news today that they did manage to break into his phone, and I guarantee you they're going to find out everything about him on the phone.
Yeah, probably.
I don't know what they're... Because he's a 20-year-old kid. That means he lived on his phone. His whole life's on that phone. And the question is, are they going to release it to us or not? Are they going to tell the truth about who he is, who he was, that is to say?
Well, I
don't know.
If they could... we saw this other people saying he's a white guy, that might help them out better because white is evil, so they'll just throw it to more. It's like, well, he shouldn't have done this because he's white, and white people are plain evil everything they do.
I'm still not getting that why is it important for some people that it was a white guy who did this?
To blame it on white people instead of blacks.
I guess I can hear you there. But at any rate, these are all justifications, and listening to all this rhetoric, you may think, okay, well then that's the sole cause of what happened here. But we also have another difficulty that we have to go into just briefly here to finish us up. And that is that security detail that was covering Trump on that day, they either failed in an epic way, a colossal failure, or as some have suggested, there's some kind of conspiracy here.
Yeah, I've
some
heard
kind
this
of inside job, something like that.
I think I was telling you before we even started recording this that I've heard people say that there was someone that saw the shooter come into the crowd, and he was telling people that, and people were ignoring him about it. And then I heard other reports that the person who, the sniper who was supposed to be in the Secret Service to protect, he was calling down saying, I have the guy, I have the shot, and he never got the go-ahead to shoot or anything like that until after the shot happened, and even then he didn't get the shot. He just did it, and they told him you shouldn't have shot. Another conspiracy thing, I know.
Sure. All that I've heard all different kinds of things like that, and we're still not sure. A couple more days, everything will become a bit more clear. Today, a new piece of information that I heard, which I can't confirm. I really don't know, but allegedly, someone in law enforcement saw a guy carrying a spotter scope. The ones that they use in order to aim with find the yardage and whatnot for your sniper shot. But at any rate, here is a guy who is an expert on this type of shooting, and I thought we'd bring him up and see what he has to say about the situation.
Regarding the assassination attempt on President Trump today, I have a lot of questions. The one that's really boggling my mind, and I want to hear thoughts on this, is how the sniper could have got on this rooftop with a very clear line of sight to where President Trump was speaking. By the way, if you look at this chart here, this is where the shooter was. Here's where President Trump was. If you take these vehicles in a parking lot, average vehicle is about 15 feet, count those out, it's about 125 yards. Very easy shot for a mediocre shooter to be able to shoot something with a long rifle at 125 yards. Before a PSD is conducted, a personal security detail by the Secret Service or by anyone, you do what's called Security Vulnerability Assessment, the SVA. And in that assessment, you would identify from this point where President Trump will be speaking, where all the vantage points that a shooter could be that present danger. And that would have clearly been this rooftop. This is the best vantage point with a clear line of sight to what a president would be. Once that's identified, then whoever's doing a detail, which in this case would be the Secret Service and local authorities, would put a security detail or secure that rooftop, or have sniper overwatch over that. So you have constant eyes on that rooftop to make sure that a threat never presented itself there, and then address that threat. Not picking on anyone, but right now, to me, one of the biggest questions is how'd that guy get on that roof, fire off a shot or multiple shots from that rooftop? It's a question that should be asked, and I hope will be answered, by the way, and I really just want to hear everyone's thoughts on it. So let's hear it.
Yeah, that's good, because if you're diving into the conspiracy part, the conspiracy would say, well, they allowed him to be up there. That even the Secret Service that was supposed to be watching it didn't want Trump, and so they allowed some shooter to be up there.
Well, let's look at a bigger, better map of what he was talking about, please, Skeeter.
What he was talking about is that location over there, right? Trump's on stage.
On the left, you see the shooter's location.
But if law enforcement snipers are up there, then they can see both sides. Yeah. So that's a great place to put them. But like he was said, you should have somebody in the parking lot or above the parking lot, right? I mean, you should.
Well, that's actually a rooftop. I know it looks like the parking lot, but that's where he shot from. He shot from an elevated position. He was prone, that is to say, he was lying down on the roof. He had an AK-47, which is a fairly accurate rifle, and he had a scope on it. If it was with good optics, yeah, he's right. That does not take a super shooter.
But
to do.
the thing that I heard too is where it says law enforcement snipers. That guy who I was talking about, or I heard in the conspiracy thoughts, that he was up there and saw the guy, and they were never given the shot. They were never given the go ahead.
My understanding is that there are some 42 seconds that the Secret Service sniper was peering down his rifle at that guy from the location where it says law enforcement snipers on the map there. He had eyes on him, and he could have pulled the trigger at any moment, and he didn't.
Well, that's because I heard he wasn't given it.
I have heard that too, but my understanding is that's not the way it's supposed to be done. You see a guy with a gun on a rooftop, you don't wait for him to shoot the president, you shoot first.
Yeah. Which, like I said, brings up the conspiracy that maybe all of this was planned and that he was supposed to be hit and or assassinated because of who knows what, right?
Yeah. If there's a conspiracy theory here, I'm not sure what it was. The one thing I think about, though, too, is this guy, the shooter, he's not any kind of a pro or anything.
Yeah.
He's kind of
we saw those kids like, come on, you're only
he's kind of a doofus. He looks like he's about 12. I don't think he had any special skill. As have heard some people say, several people already say that this shot was not a hard one. You can't just go and buy a gun and straight out of the box make that shot. But I mean, if you practice a bit and stuff like that, you can do it.
So he didn't endued the spirits of John Wilkes Booth and Oswald as people were praying for.
Yeah, like that kid in the TikTok videos is trying to summon them up and that. But anyway, in the end, if you could bring up our last photo, please.
Yeah,
all
the
of that is
iconic
this.
photo, huh?
That's an epic, cool photo.
Yeah, it is.
And all it's going to do, despite what this kid wanted, and whomever else may or may not have been involved, all it did is make him bigger and better. It's like, Nietzsche said, that which does not kill us makes us stronger.
Makes us stronger, yeah.
Yeah, well, that's what it's happened here. If Trump wasn't going to win before, he's going to win before.
Yeah, I think it's
anyway.
kind of obvious that even to people who don't even understand it, that if you don't kill the guy, then, that means he's going to get tons of followers because murder's wrong. Maybe that's why, because murder's wrong. And if you try to murder something, then people are going to be on that underdog side, right? I mean,
well, yeah, and it's also on top of that. After getting Trump shot, he was pretty epic about it. He gets back up. He's got blood on his face. He gives the freaking power fist thing there and says, "Fight, fight, fight." And the whole crowd around him starts saying USA, USA, USA. It was like out of a movie.
Yeah.
It couldn't have been cooler than it was.
Yeah, it did work out well for some conspiracies saying this is the whole point. So
that they did it deliberately?
Yeah.
No one gets shot in the ear deliberately.
Trump would.
No,
I could see Trump doing that.
That would take that Wyatt Earp couldn't make that shot. No.
Bill could have. Bill could have.
Yeah, maybe Bill could have, but he's long dead. No.
So is Wyatt Earp.
You have to take your life into your hands there. No, I don't think so. I think he was actually, judging by his reaction, he was genuinely off-put.
He did look very surprised. Yeah, what was going on.
And by the way, I'd have to say about the Secret Service that were at least there with him on the stage. Those people were trying to protect him.
Yeah.
They put a wall of bodies in front of him and were willing to take a bullet for him. So I would not, if you think some of the Secret Service might have been involved, maybe one rogue element or something like that, I think the guys on stage were on the president's side and were trying to keep him alive.
Well, however you view it, give us your comments and concerns. If you think it's conspiracy, if you think it's not conspiracy and the guy's just missed because he's stupid. However you deem it, please give us your comments, your likes, concerns. Follow us on Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube, and check out Sons of Thunder podcast to search for us. We'll check you out next week for more episodes of Sons of Thunder.